Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ryan Jackson from RyanJacksonLLC.com. Hope you all are having a good day. Hope you're doing well. It's Monday. You know what they say about Mondays. But anyway, hope we change that idea about Mondays. And I hope you're having a great day like it would be a Friday or something like that. So I hope you all are doing well out there. With that being said, I'm going to jump into the topic for this episode. And it's Lil Nas X. A lot of you all know Lil Nas X from the hit song he had a couple years back, Old Town Road. Well, Lil Nas X has made headlines again. This time he did a video with men in prison, black men in prison, and they were twerking like they were at like a strip club or something like that, or like it was a sexual fest. We all know, or we should know, there's nothing desirable, especially sexually desirable, about men being in prison or about being in prison. Many men have been raped, sexually assaulted, murdered, maimed, all sorts of things happen behind prison walls. I've had family members, I still have family members to this day in prison. I had a cousin that was released back in April, 3 months back, after doing 20 years in prison for murder. My cousin back in Detroit, he was released. My god brother has been in prison since 1990, 91. He's not getting out. He has gotten a natural life, and he's 50 years old. He was sent to the gulags when he was 19. So that's all his 20s, all his 30s, all his 40s, and he just turned 50 this past December. He'd be 51 this December. So he's had 3 decades in prison, 30 years in prison. He has natural life. I have a cousin that's in prison. Um, I have a nephew that's in prison. He's been in for 13 years. I know people who worked in corrections, COs that worked in prison. I say all this to say this. They have not told me good things about prison. Least thing they told me about it was that it was sexually desirable. God for heaven forbid. They never told me anything about prison being sexually desirable. Like you're in a strip club, like no, it's nothing desirable about a black man being sent to the gulags. And like I said, I've known plenty of people who have been in prison. My oldest brother was in prison. So I know plenty of people who've been in prison, and I know people that are still in prison to this day, and people who have worked in prisons. And everything that they have told me has been negative about prison. They told me the things that prisoners do to each other, what the guards do to the prisoners, what the prisoners do to the guards, what the guards do to each other. It's just a cutthroat place, and there's nothing sexually desirable about that gulag. So I found it offensive that Lil Nas X would do this video about men twerking in prison, black men twerking in prison, twerking on each other. You would never see the Beastie Boys doing a video about Jewish men twerking on each other in a concentration camp. Am I right or am I absolutely right? You would never see an Asian artist do a video about Asian men twerking on each other in an internment camp in California. Am I right or am I absolutely right? You would never see any foolishness or buffoonery like this from their communities. But yet, we allow this garbage in our community. Where are our so-called civil rights leaders? Where are our so-called black clergy? They had a lot to say in the 1990s about the lyrics from Snoop Dogg and Tupac being, promoting gang violence. You'll see Dolores Tucker's, may she rest in peace. Your Reverend Calvin Butts, to name just a couple. That their names come to mind. There were many, many others in the 1990s that had a lot to say about hip hop. How gangster rap was toxic for hip hop. Okay, if gangster rap was toxic, and yes, there were toxic elements of that. I get that. They were right. It was. However, on the flip side of that, they were talking about stuff that they knew, that they witnessed. Snoop, NWA, Tupac, they were speaking about the things that they witnessed. Hip hop was as a storytelling art. It's people telling their life story. They telling what they see. Is it over glorified? Yes, it is. Should it be promoted to our children as being cool or being the hip thing to do? No, it should not. But the stories have to be told. What story is being told about a black man twerking on another black man in prison? How is that not toxic? And again, I ask, where are the so-called civil rights leaders? Where are the so-called black clergy? Why are they calling this out for what it is? It's filth and demonic. There is nothing sexual about prison, especially nothing sexually desirable about prison, where many of our black men are sent in disproportionate numbers still. There's nothing desirable about prison. Nothing. It's supposed to be a place to rehabilitate criminals, but we know that they don't get rehabilitated. They come out worse. They come out of prison worse than they are when they went in. I've seen plenty of examples of this. It's not a desirable place. But then again, what are leaders in our community to speak out against this? Oh, I'm sorry. They're bought and sold by the Democratic Party, by y'all so-called friends, the white liberals. They have dangled silver and gold in front of our so-called leaders, our clergy. Dangle silver and gold in front of them to get them to not pay attention to the BS and garbage that they're promoting to our young people and to our community. They pay them to turn a blind eye. They sold us out. No other community would tolerate this. No other community. The Jewish community wouldn't tolerate this. The Asian community wouldn't tolerate this. Middle Eastern community. No other community would tolerate this foolishness. The Hispanic community, but we do. Because these Democrats got you, they get these white liberals, Joe Biden, Dr. Fauci, these white liberals have got y'all tricked. Tell your people to get the vaccine. Tell them to get this poison. Never mind what's going on over here. If I could distract you with pushing a propaganda of this poison saving people's lives, then I could get you to forget about a buffoonish cooning rapper promoting sexual behavior in prison. I could get you to forget about all the destructive things that's going on in your cities, like Philadelphia, murders every day, all day, every day. Atlanta, Detroit, Baltimore, DC, Chicago, Oakland, Houston. I could go on and on. These are democratically ran cities by your friends, the white liberals. They tell y'all to take y'all booties to the polls, which y'all did last fall, get them elected. Tell your people to get this poison, to get this vaccine. It's good for them. They got to do their part. They get Dr. Fauci, to do interviews with LL Cool J, with Run DMC, to get people to take this damn poison. And meanwhile, they're hitting you with, yeah, we're gonna have black men twerk in prison. We're gonna get Lil Nas X out there to to push this narrative that prison is sexually desirable. This is nothing but of the devil. Just a few months ago, he was pushing, Nike sued him because he was pushing shoes that contain human blood. Human blood. How disturbing is this? Where are our clergy? Where are our elders? Where are our so-called civil rights leaders? Then he did a video of him twerking on the devil, being sexualized by Satan. I mean, if you want to worship the devil on your time, by all means. But don't push this garbage to our kids. Don't push that to our children. It's wrong. It's wrong, and it's a tool of white supremacy to further destroy us. Where are our clergy? Where are our so-called civil rights leaders? I keep asking this question. They had a lot to say in the 1990s about gangster rap. They had a mouthful to say. Oh, you know why they had a mouthful to say about that? I get it. Because this is around the time of Bill Clinton. Around the time Joe Biden signed that racist ass crime bill. So of course they had a lot to say because they were doing the Democrats, the white liberals' job for them. Criticize the black male. Yeah, you should be critical, but to the point of criminalizing them. Excuse me, got a little tongue tied there. And we're going to push this crime bill. We've sent thousands upon thousands upon thousands of black men to the gulags on minimal drug charges. They gave the maximum minimum to black men for having a dime bag of weed. Something that's legal now. Something that these cannabis companies are making billions of dollars off of. The stock market is making billions of dollars off of cannabis. But back in 1995, Pookie and Ray Ray were being sent to the gulags for life for having a dime bag or having a pound of marijuana. Yet, the opioid crisis in white America is a health crisis. They're not being criminalized. Do y'all see this? Do y'all see the disparity here? What's wrong with this picture? What is wrong with it? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what's going on. It doesn't. Many of you choose to ignore it because y'all think these white liberals are doing right by black people. They're doing right by us. They love us. White liberals, just like conservatives, white conservatives or any conservatives, they're another wing of white supremacy. It's the same thing. They all have the same agenda. The only difference is with the conservatives, they tell you they're not for you. They tell you they don't like you to your face with the policies, with the things they say. The white liberals come, with their arms around you. Oh, you've been oppressed. You can't do anything because you've been oppressed. You can't go to school. You can't, train a thought. You can't read a book. You can't start a business because you've been oppressed. Oh, woe is you, poor black person. America hates you, but we love you. If you you know regurgitate our talking points, we'll be there for you. Even though we don't think much of you, we could just say Black Lives Matter, but we really don't think Black Lives Matter. Keep voting us in office. Keep voting for our mayors that represent our party. While your cities are destructive cesspools, you can't even sit on your porch, can't even walk around the corner for the fear of being, shot. Bullets whizzing past your head every damn day. Neighborhoods look like trash bins. Trash all on the streets. Abandoned houses. Heroin addicts everywhere. But yet, keep voting for these Democrats. I was reading a story a couple weeks ago about in Philadelphia how the trash on the streets is just terrible. It's ridiculous. Trash is just being piled up on the streets. Detroit, Southeast Michigan, which includes Detroit, they've been going through the worst flood in the history of Michigan, especially the city of Detroit. I don't think they ever had a summer where they received this much rain, and it's so much trash. People throwing out, furniture and appliances that are just that's not they're no good. They're just their basements have been flooded. And now FEMA is going, it's supposed to be offering, to help people rebuild their rebuild their homes. We'll see how that goes. But why didn't Joe Biden declare this area a state of emergencies? Provide aid for them like they did. This is a flood. This is an emergency, a disaster. But I still have to say is that the Democrats don't have your back. They're not our friends. They've never been friends of black people. And they pushed us, we allowed them to push their agenda on us. The over sexualization of the black male, of the black woman. And it's problematic and it needs to stop. It needs to end. And Lil Nas X ought to be ashamed of himself. He's a puppet. He's a puppet of white supremacy. They got their hands up his ass, and he's doing destructive crap like this, pushing this poison to our kids. No other community would tolerate this, but yet and still ours do. We call this art. What happened to hip hop? What happened to the genre that I fell in love with when I was 7, 8 years old? That talked about, the disparity in our community. That talked about poverty. Talked about black men being better fathers, better husbands, leaders in the community. How black men, could be an entrepreneur. That talked about our history, that we descended from royalty. Black women, you are goddesses. The black woman is the most beautiful woman on the planet. That's what female rappers was promoting. The beauty of the black woman. They talked about unprotected sex, both male and female rappers. If you have sex, wear protection. Or Practice abstinence. No sex at all. Be smart. What happened to that hip hop? What happened to that? Nah, it's promoting, you know, black men twerking each other in prison. It's promoting demonic behavior, Satan shoes, you know, twerking on Satan. It's telling all young girls to sell their vagina for $5 in a Klondike bar. I mean, what has happened to hip hop? It's turned into something that I hate now. I listen to the old stuff. I don't listen to this crap that's out now. These rappers talking about promoting drug use, Molly's Percocets, promoting the destruction of our young men and women, telling our young girls to sell their vagina for $5 in a Klondike bar, telling our young men that it's cool to go to prison and it be sexually desirable. What has happened to hip hop? It's being used as a tool to destroy our community. What we started more than 45 years ago has turned into a tool to destroy us. White supremacy is a crafty devil, boy. They are, you have to give it to them. They are a crafty devil. Crafty. But that's our enemy. And many in our community are working for the enemy. I said it before and I keep saying it. We have we have enemies, foreign and domestic. And it's our domestic enemies that will destroy us from within. We can see our foreign enemies. We can see them for miles coming. But it's our domestic enemies, those in our community that we cannot see because they're in our family. They're in our churches. They're our so-called friends. You can't see them, but they do reveal themselves. Like a snake that's hiding in the woods or hiding in the bushes. He'll reveal himself. It sure will. Be damn sure of that. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy out here. You have to beware and be aware. I hate using the term woke. I hate using that term personally because a lot of these so-called woke Negroes need to go to sleep. It's bedtime. They need to be read a bedtime story. It's nap time. They need to wake up, re-educate themselves to be aware and be aware. I hate the term woke because all these so-called woke people, they're asleep. They sleepwalking. They think they woke, but they're not woke. They're not. It just, I hate what hip hop has become. I hate that this is being allowed to be pushed to our children. That this destructive behavior of drug use, over sexualization. I just hate it I hate it with a passion. You know, our kids see enough. You go any city in America, and black youth they go through a lot, losing friends, loved ones over just BS. BS. We are a traumatized people. We are suffering from PTSS, post traumatic slave syndrome. And we do not need people to further the traumatization. We do not need our own to further the traumatization, y'all. We don't. Our so-called skin folk. Not all skin folk are your kinfolk, as we see on a daily basis. They're not. And it just sickens me because, like I started this episode with, I've known people. I've known people who have been in prison. I know people in prison right now. There is nothing desirable, let alone sexually desirable, about being in that gulag. Nothing at all. I've known people who worked in prisons. They didn't say anything positive about working in a prison. They didn't say anything that was desirable about it, let alone sexually desirable about it. That was the last thing on their minds. So why do you have a goofball rapper going around here promoting this BS garbage? This clown. Why has he been allowed to do this? Because our oppressors are allowing it. They're allowing this to be to be promoted to our children, to our community, and our so-called civil rights leaders and black clergy have turned a blind eye. Their voices have been bought. They have been given a few pieces of silver and gold to look the other way, while our community continues to be destroyed from within. It's treasonous behavior at its best. No other community would allow this. This is why we always finish last. This is why we're the laughing stock of other communities, because we put so much faith in these white liberals to get them elected, to think they're going to do right by us, when they keep stabbing us in the back and screwing us over time and time and time again. We're worried about the Delta variants, the booster shot, getting this damn poison shot, this damn vaccines, that we don't see the big picture. We don't see what's being happened to our community. Unhealthy behavior, eating, fried foods, sugary foods, drinking sugary drinks on a daily basis. Unhealthy behavior is not being addressed. Eating healthy, exercising is not being promoted. This was done by design. It wasn't done by accident. It was done by design. Tell people, take vitamin C and D. Eat healthy. Exercise. Don't eat fried foods. Eat sugary food. Drink sugary drinks. That stuff will kill you. It breaks down your body. That's why you can't fight off diseases. The damn COVID vaccine is not going to change that. If you take care of yourself and practice healthy living, that will prolong your life. You don't need this damn vaccine. But then again, that's not being promoted because it doesn't promote the white liberals' agenda. It is something's got to change, y'all, because time is running out. It behooves us to do better. It behooves us to do better. Time is of the essence, black people. We have to, I saw something about people signing a boycott to boycott Kevin Samuels being on YouTube. And that's all fine and dandy. But how about boycotting Lil Nas X? How about not supporting him? Telling him no, he has to do right by us. Stop promoting this behavior in your videos. If you want to worship the devil, fine. That's your prerogative. I don't agree with it, but whatever. I have no problem with you being homosexual. That's your prerogative. But if kids want to be gay, let them have that conversation with their parents. Don't you force their parents to make the decision for them or force it on the children. Let the conversation be between the parent and the child. That's a private discussion with the parents. Don't you force it down their throat. I have no issue with people being gay or lesbian. No issue at all. But when you promote your sexuality to our children and tell them that, they should have a sex change at the age of 7, when they haven't discovered puberty yet, I have a problem with that because that's a violation of their of their parents' rights to teach them, to have that discussion with them. I have a huge problem with that. That has nothing to do about being anti-gay or anti-lesbian or anything like that. I'm pro-parenting. That's what I'm pro. I'm pro-parenting. I'm anti-toxicity, whether it be, from the LGBTQ community, whether it be from uh, people in our community, from any community. I'm anti-toxic behavior. That's what I am. So, miss me with this. You know, I hate on the gay and lesbian community, LGBTQ community. No, I do not. I do not hate on them. I don't hate them. I don't hate no anyone. But I think kids should have this discussion with their parents, whether they're gay or lesbian or want a sex change. That should be between the child and the parent, not through music, not through people in Hollywood. That's what I have a problem with. In any event, I'm gonna hop off of here. Let me know what you think about this episode. Feel free to share it on social media. Get it out there in the algorithm. Let's have this conversation. We don't have to agree, but we can agree to disagree without being disagreeable. That's what we do here. We can be adults about this. So feel free to comment. Let me know what you think. Take care. Love you all. And God bless. I'm out. Peace.